Welcome to Life, the podcast that dives into life. It's open to life. We discuss and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. My name is Adam Farrell, and I'm here with my co-host, Steve Pollard. Welcome to Life. My name is Adam Farrell, and I'm joined here with Steve Pollard.
Hello everybody, right, episode 1.
Episode 1.
We're off the mark.
We are.
It's exciting, and we've got quite a tale today for the first episode, to be honest with you. Introducing our guest, Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Tony's story, obviously we'll dive in a bit deeper, but just give you an overview. Left home when 17 to chase the rock and roll dream. Nottingham, London, dry cleaner to the Queen.
One time, yes. Absolutely.
Ghosts, UFOs, heartache.
Yeah.
A lot of heartache.
Yeah, afraid so.
Some very dark moments in his life. On to owning a business now. So
Absolutely.
That's where we are in an overview.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be a good idea to crack off with what drove you away from home. What made you decide to move away? Away.
First of all, it was to Nottingham, with friends in Nottingham, so I moved out of Newark, where I lived, trying to chase the rock and roll dream, as you do. Met a guy called Jay, formed the band there called Hype. Played all over Nottingham, different bands, but was right in the middle of that glam rock revival from 86, 87, 88, Guns N' Roses, Poison, Motley Crue. We used to play...
Nottingham was quite famous, was it?
It was, yeah.
For the
rock
glam
City.
rock scene.
Yeah, it certainly was. Remember when Guns N' Roses first toured over here, sporting Faster Pussycat?
Did you serve...
Yes.
Food?
Yes. That is another story. But, at Rock City. But we also saw Faster Pussycat there with them. And Faster Pussycat actually blew Guns N' Roses off the stage.
They're great, man.
They were a brilliant band.
I've heard them. I've heard one or two of their songs, but I can't say I follow them.
You're not a glam, not really.
Not massively, no. It's more heavy metal, industrial metal.
Yeah.
Well, Axl Rose being Axl Rose at the time, someone threw a glass at him. I remember the words exactly. You can suck on the encore. Threw his mic down and off he went. Yeah, absolutely. But Faster Pussycat came out, met all the crowd. You know, it was just a nice vibe in Nottingham at the time. With me and Jay, but I just wanted a little bit extra. What Nottingham, with my girlfriend at the time, she went off with somebody else, as you do. What am I doing here in Nottingham? I had a little bed sit up on Woodborough Road, depressing, lost all my friends, band had split up. Where am I going to go now? So I decided to take a trip to London, where I had some friends in London. Going around Kensington Market, RIP, which is gone now. Going around Kensington Market, one of my best friends, Chrissy, who I hope will be on this podcast in the future, who's got a tale to tell. Used to know him in North Devon when we used to go on holiday in North Devon. Haven't seen him for 10 years, but we kept in touch. Going around Kent Market, and I saw him working in one of the stores. Chrissy, Trashy, as my band name was. How you doing? Yeah, good. What are you doing? Thinking of moving to London. Wow, I'm living in a bedsit. There's a bedsit next door to me. Why don't you get yourself down? Wow, okay. Within 2 or 3 days, packed all my tiny little possessions that I had, didn't have a lot, into a van, went off to London, 15 quid in my pocket. Not knowing what I was going to do. But then, as you say, this is called life. I had to take the opportunity, because when I was going to get the opportunity again.
So you moved from Nottingham to London with £15?
With 15 quid in my pocket, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, not knowing what the future was going to be. But I know I had a bed sit, and at that time, I was signing on, and it was so easy in the early 1990s to just go down to what's called the dole office there. And you just signed on away, then the rent was going to be paid, it's okay. And the landlord was like, yeah, just go through that. So it was an easy option to go down, because the rent was going to be paid. But we ended up getting a job in Kensington Market alongside Chrissy, which was an iconic place to be. And then from that time in the early 1990s, we can't remember much.
I was just going to say, where did the nickname Trash come from?
It came from Nottingham when I was going out with an American girl. And she used to say, he's trashed again. Where's trashed? And then when we got in the bands, it just added the Y onto it. I thought that's a good name to have as a bass player in a band, to call myself Trashy. So that's where it came from. But yeah, because I was always trash. Alcohol problems, I'll come into the story in a bit. Always had a battle with alcohol. Always do to this day. I've stopped
From
drinking.
what sort of age was that?
Not in my youth, really. In the 20s, I could take it or leave it when I was in Nottingham. It was when we was in London, again, I could take it or leave it. We always had a can of beer in the markets, but I was never drunk. You know, I was never bouncing off walls unless we went out Fridays and Saturday nights. But working in the Camden, we used to go out Saturday night, go all night, and that's when the amphetamines came in as well, that we used to take to keep us awake. And then we'd work on the Sunday morning at Camden Market. We haven't been to sleep. We just got the clothes we'd been in, just went out. It was a ball at the time, not realising you're getting more addicted to these things as it went on. But anyway, played in bands, and I met a guy called Martin who was looking for a bass player. It was at the Marquee Club, looking for a bass player. He said, "Do you want to come and play with the band? Here's the demo tape. We've got a gig coming up in 4 days." Okay, where are you playing? Marquee Club. 4 days.
That doesn't mean much to me. What is the Marquee
Yeah,
Club? Was it a big venue?
The Marquee Club is an iconic club. When it was on Wardle Street, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, all the bands played there. Yeah.
Wow.
And then it moved. It wasn't exactly the place it was before, but all the big American bands used to come and play over there. Big club. I know Prince played that Marquee Club. You know, just little secret gigs that they did there. So it was a big club. So I got this demo tape. 4 days to learn it. I've never been so nervous in all my life going on stage. I was shaking. There was about 2,000 people out there.
I mean, that was in the days before Ultimate Guitar, where you can just
go on and get a tab and everything, you know. And we went on, and I couldn't walk onto the stage, really. I thought I was going to throw up, thought I was going to be sick. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and went on there, and you came out to the crowd. And I've got to admit, I just blagged it. Every time I didn't know a bass note, I turned the bass down. Turned it back up when the new was going, and no one knew, you know, no one knew. There's video footage of it, actually. The band was called Cat Ballou, and they weren't so much famous, but infamous in London. And we went on to own the Hellfire Club, run the Hellfire Club, which is in Charing Cross.
Was that a nightclub, or was it a music venue?
It was a nightclub, yeah. We used to have bands down there. We used to play there, obviously, owning it. Again, and that's where...
So the band owned the club?
Yeah, we ran the club. Yeah, we didn't own the venue, but we ran the club.
Was that quite common
back then? 400 people, and we used to DJ down there. Yeah, held about 400 people. But,
quite an intimate venue then.
Very intimate venue,
Yeah.
very nice venue.
Yeah.
But we employed the bouncers down there as well. So drugs were rife down there. You know, they would confiscate drugs. They'd give them to us. So all that thing was on tap. And that's when you start. Yeah, I know. But that's when you start learning that all of a sudden this drug habit is starting to become a habit and an addiction. And it took a couple of years to realise that, because it was on tap for us.
So by that time, it's too late.
Yeah.
By that time, it's too late. Yeah, that's the thing. And then when certain things happened in your life, all you do is you turn to a drug. You turn to the cocaine, you turn to the speed. And I was waking up in the morning at the crack of 10, taking a line. First thing I do is do a line. But I had this thing in my head. It was like, whoa, hang on, wake up, because this is getting serious now. And then when the band split, and we didn't have a club anytime then I was thinking, well, I've got to buy it. And that's for 50 quid a gram or whatever, to buy this stuff. And that's when it gets expensive. So luckily for me, not having a massive addictive personality, I know some people do, I managed to stop. And I managed to finish it. And the alcohol as well. I just stopped it completely.
Was that the end of the band, end of your musical sort of...
Yes, yeah, it was, yeah.
So you left home,
Yep.
chasing a rock and roll dream.
Yes, which I did.
What split the band up? Why did it stop?
What do you think?
Drugs.
Yeah,
Drugs.
That's so common, isn't it, amongst bands?
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
It really
It
is.
was, It was. We were just, fighting, falling out, and all it was just about the drugs and not the music anymore.
Was you successful, or could you have been, do you think?
I think so.
Did you have any
we could have
albums
gone
out
on further, just demos, that's all. And it could have gone further. People liked us. Seb Hunter, who's the guitarist, went on to write the book, which was, I forget what it's called now. It was a rock and roll book about his rock and roll lifestyle that went on to sell quite a few copies. So, it was just about all the bands in the era at that time. And then I met a girl called Lizzie, and we lived above the dry cleaners. And I was still working at Camden Market and stuff. And she settled me down a lot, because she didn't take.
Were you still involved then when you met Lizzie with the rock and roll?
Yeah, with the
scene
and everything.
You're still going out.
Absolutely.
Was Lizzie a rock chick? Was
yeah,
she?
she was. Yeah. I met her at the store or Hippodrome. I can't remember which one of the big nightclubs down there. Because we lived above the dry cleaners. And we settled down, started going out, going for walks, doing the things that normal people do. Normal people, whatever that is. I was with her, say, for about 5 years, still working in the markets. And then her dad, who run the dry cleaners, because we lived upstairs, they were short-staffed one day and said, do you want to come and just work in the dry cleaners? Never in a million years going to London to live the rock and roll lifestyle would I think that I'd be working in the dry cleaners.
Mm.
Nothing wrong with dry cleaners, by the way. I own one. But and he said, oh, you're going to be quite good at this. So he started training me up and then offered me the job. So I started working then for the dry cleaners. And this, again, this podcast is about life, how things happen. Lizzie's best friend, Sarah, was a singer in a band. And she knew a guy called Rob.
Was it Slam Mama?
Yes, Slam Mama.
Sarah's got a voice.
She's got a voice, and
wow.
she still has. Yeah.
For you know, an amateur sort of band. I've heard the demo tapes of Slam Mama. It's really good.
And so we had the original band, then we had the cover band called Instinct, and we gigged all over London.
What sort of covers did you used to do?
Everything from Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, Elvis and the Beatles.
So what's your musical passion? What's your...
I love all genres of music. I can listen to classical. I can listen
even
to,
back then?
Yeah, even back then. Absolutely. The eclectic mix from Guns N' Roses, and then I could put Simon & Garfunkel on, any of those, you know, the Beatles, Prince.
Music in general.
Music in general. Yeah, just a big fan of good music. So that's when the drugs stopped. And I was lucky enough to get out of that and stop the drugs, you know, and I've never touched them since. I won't. But it did get me to a point where I was so low and having to be becoming addicted to it. I was lucky enough to go, and a lot of people aren't, are they?
No.
They go on and on and on.
No.
And I know, you know, talking to people, when I say you're drinking too much or you're taking this or you're doing that, to advise, whether they'll listen to it or not, is entirely up to them.
That's
isn't it?
a different
That's
thing,
the difference, isn't it? I know. But so then, say with Lizzie, I ended up working for the dry cleaners, and when I managed the shop, we ended up getting the royal contract. We had people like Richard Branson. I remember Take That coming in once, which all the Saturday girls were absolutely going crazy about, because she used to do. A girl called Bonnie used to come in. She was their dresser. You know, she used to dress them, and she brought them to us to come in and say hi and thanks for doing all the stuff. One funny story I must share: we had a girl called Evelyn, and they were playing at the Palladium. I think it was one of their last gigs before they split up, and they had these fishnet tops on that they got, and you just have to steam them with dry cleaning. She steamed it and pulled it, and the sleeves were like this. And
Take That.
I remember Jason Orange it was. And I saw him on stage, and he was doing the dance routine, and all the time he was rolling his sleeves up like this, and they were flopping down. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's Evelyn!" Yeah, so that was
Brilliant.
but yeah, we had some great people come, even people like Lorraine Chase that used to come. If you remember Lorraine Chase,
Who's Lorraine Chase?
Yeah, I don't know.
famous actress years ago. She used to be in Wurzel Gummies. She used to play Aunt Sally. She's famous advert. Yeah,
I've
you know.
seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And yeah, talking about coincidences in life, I was at the Bernardo's just in my shop, and I heard this voice in the second-hand shop, the charity shop there. I said, I recognise that voice. Lorraine? She's in Newark.
Oh, really?
I said, hi, Lorraine, do you remember me? I said, used to, Mr. Steeds, who used to manage the shop down in... Darling! She said, how are you? What are you doing now? I said, I own the dry cleaners down here. Yeah, darling. I own the dry cleaners on the corner. Let me have a look. And she came and looked. She said, how's Dougie? Which was my boss then at the time. And through that, I got a really good contract with a company that does pantomimes. Every year they bring in all this stuff because she knew them. And again, life's coincidences, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
It's just a journey.
What a small world. Yeah, what a small world.
When you speak to somebody like yourself, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think decisions are yours to make half the time.
No, I think you're right.
I think there's a lot of fate. Well, I believe in fate. I think everything's fated to happen when it does.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I was telling Steve about the short story that I wrote, because I write short stories, and one of them was just about the woman that could actually predict the exact date and time that you were going to die. And would you want to know?
No.
Would you want to know?
No. I wouldn't.
But the people in the story that did know changed their lifestyle and do something completely different for what they would have done on that day that they died, just very quickly. A guy used to go to the cinema with his girlfriend every Friday night. This night, he went down the pub with his friends, got in an altercation at the bar, got stabbed and died. If it had gone to the cinema, what would have happened? Do you know what I
Would he
mean?
have still died?
Would he still died?
Would he not?
It's that whole parallax, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sliding doors
Yeah.
sort of thing. And but say would it? But that's what the thing with your fate and your life is mapped out before you. Can you change destiny?
I think people have a good go, don't they?
They try.
Yeah.
I don't think
right.
you can. I think everything.
I think what will be will be.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't necessarily like to think of it as
Case
it's kind of been written out for me.
Yeah.
I do like to still think that I do have
You've
free
influenced
will.
it. Yeah.
Or some sort of influence over things. But do you really? Who actually knows?
Who knows?
I don't think you could dwell too much on that.
No, you can't.
You'd
Can
end up
you?
being nervous,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Of course you would. Of course you would. You can't.
Yeah. But from there, when I split up with Lizzie amicably, I went on to work for an interior design company. I met a girl called Sue, and we had a lovely marriage for about 5 years. Sadly, again, a bit of a rock bottom story, but we lost 2 children unborn, and for various factors, Sue had to go through termination, bits and pieces. And when you've gone through that and you lose not 1 but 2 children, when the hospital says it's 1,000,000 to 1, that won't happen again, and it happens again. Again, I turned them to the bottle.
Was this still in London?
This was still in London, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
we bought a nice little house in Streatham, and she ended up having an affair with
Was that due to the fact that you turned to the bottle, or?
I think it might have been. At the time,
Yeah.
I didn't think so, and I blamed her for everything, and she had the affair. But then, looking back, retrospectively, you do on life,
I don't think
Yeah.
logical thinking comes into
Doesn't
it. does
come into it, does it?
This like traumatic sort of thing.
doesn't come into it, does
It
it?
doesn't at the time,
Yeah.
no. It's
I
not until
possibly
I say.
should have been there more for. I thought I was, because we actually we flew off to Japan. Some friends in Japan. We had 3 weeks in Japan. Went to the 2002 World Cup. We followed England around just to get away from everything, to try and And we toured Japan. We had a beautiful time all over Japan for 3 weeks. Came back, thought everything was okay. And then suddenly realised she was working late. We're friends this weekend. When you get those little signs and you have a gut feeling, but because we never argued, because we didn't fall out, no. And I spoke to her best friend. No, she wouldn't do that. No, not in a million years. She loves you to death. Then you find out, which is, again, life's coincidence. She left her phone. She'd gone to work, left her phone. Phone rang. Steve. Hello? Is that Steve? Questions on it, and she admitted that she'd had the affair, but she left the phone. So would she have had the affair and we carried on, then my life would have been totally different. So I had to leave the job where I was working, because again, absolute rock bottom, hit the floor, rug pulled out from under you. We had the mortgage, so all bills were then doubled for me to deal with.
Did she move out straight away then?
She
It's
gone.
like-
Yeah, she gone.
She's gone.
Yeah, whether it was out of just, the fact that she either wanted to leave me, or she was, because we got on so well, that she was embarrassed about what had gone off, and I've got to make
So
this
you found
work.
yourself on your own again.
Got it on my own again.
Life, nowhere really.
No.
Everything you built
Yeah.
up towards,
Everything. Yeah.
it's just been gone.
Work toward, plan towards.
Did you go back onto drugs at that point?
No,
or was it
I
just
didn't
alcohol?
actually. No. So I've not touched him since those early times. Thank goodness. But no, I just hit the bottle. I didn't know whether it was 4 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock at night. I just keep the curtains drawn, sleep, watch movies, get up, go into London, walk around, come back, sleep. It was just a real, when someone's got their head down.
Just one long
So
day.
when people say chin up, it's because your chin is down, isn't it? And one day went into another. I got made redundant from the job. I took redundancy. I said, I can't do this job anymore. I can't physically function, and doing what I'm doing. And they were really good to me. And then I found myself wandering around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd had Jack Daniels. I've been drinking. I thought I don't want to be here anymore, to be honest. I've just had enough. And I stood on Chelsea Bridge, and I heard people shouting behind. You okay? And I was just like, leave it. And I didn't know that they shut the bridge off. Sorry, traffic at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ambulance, police. But yeah, I wasn't aware of it. And I'd gone to jump when the police officer grabbed me as I went to jump, pulled me back over the rails, and obviously taken to Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, sectioned. Didn't know how to get my freedom had then been taken away. And as much as I tried to convince them I was okay, they would not let me go. because they said psychologically you're going to do this again. And I was in there 3 days trying to convince them that I wasn't mad, I wasn't insane. They ask you strange questions like, do you remember when the war ended?
Really?
Yeah, just little things like.
What's that for? Logical thinking?
I said, yeah, I'm actually a historian at 1945. And it was just kind of like, oh, right, okay, yeah, just see if you're rational and things aren't, what war? I think it was just such bizarre questions, but in the end, after seeing the psychiatrists, psychoanalysts, they let me out, and I got home and I was never so happy to have my freedom back. Because it had been taken away.
So you was on your own in this place in London.
Yes.
Your life's gone. Mm-hmm. Right? You want to end your life.
Yes.
You get prevented.
Yeah.
You go back to that empty place you tried to run away from,
mm-hmm.
but yet you feel happy.
I didn't feel happy. I didn't know what to do. I obviously, head in hands, got there, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
No job.
No job.
Lost your wife.
Lost wife.
How long was you married for?
6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And hardly any crosswords in that 6 years.
Lost 2 babies.
Lost 2 babies. Yeah. And bill after
That's
bill
a
after
lot.
bill
That's
coming
a
in.
lot.
Yeah. And I had various friends in London, but to be honest with you, it was, London's like, different places. Chrissy at that time had moved to Brighton. I spoke to him on the phone. He
was in London for a period.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so I decided what I was going to do. I've either got to keep the property in London, or rent it, or move on and find another job. But in the back of my head was, go back to your roots, familiarity, people you know, places you know. And that did me the world of good. And it was just kind of like, at that age, going back in my 30s, mum and dad were like, come back home. I thought, I can't.
What age was you there?
I can't. I was in my, what would it be?
Roughly.
Yeah, it was mid-30s.
Mid-30s?
I got married, 36, got married at 30. So I'd be 36, yeah. I can't go back to my mum and dad's. I can't.
At 36,
I'm 36 years old, yeah.
And to have done all that, in that short 18 years, you moved away.
Yeah.
You've gone through all that ups and downs, to moving back home to where you started.
But then, I thought, do you know what? I didn't see my mum and dad for so many years, and they're not here forever. Twice a year, 3 times a year, I saw them. Yeah. And I thought, do you know what? I will. And I moved back in. It was the best move I ever made. Got myself back on my feet again. Someone cooking a meal for you. Do you know what I mean? It sounds odd.
Was you still addicted to alcohol when you moved from London back to your mum and dad's?
I was still hitting the booze. Right. And then when I moved back to my mum and dad's, because I wasn't working again and because I'd sold the house, so basically I had 40 grand in the bank. Mm. Right, what am I going to... I could drink any time of day. And why are you drinking that? Because I can. That was it. Why are you drinking? Because I can. Mm. And I didn't have to get up in the morning for work. But I know I needed a focus. And I think you know the story where a friend of mine, black guy called Ricky, Barbadian guy, who I trained up to press when I was at the dry cleaners. He went back to Barbados. He said, come over to Barbados. I'm like, it's a really good idea. How long for? 6 weeks. So I took off for 6 weeks. And again, took that choice in life because when am I going to get that choice again? Mm. I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go. And we had the best time. And he doesn't drink a lot, so I didn't drink a lot. A few beers at night, do you know what I mean? Just go and see the sights, go to the tourist places. And it was just an amazing, relaxing 6 weeks. I had a few beers on.
Did you party with the president of Barbados or something like that? Was there a story on my...
Yes, there was, and I'm trying to remember. He owned a golf course, and I had golf with him out there.
Was it something that in Barbados they don't do pool parties?
That's right. They had pools, but they don't do pool parties. Yes, and I went down.
Pool parties are a thing.
Yeah. And I was the token white guy. Yeah. And I remember jumping in the pool there. We don't do that. I do.
Oh, well. I do.
I do, yeah. And but it was really funny, just being the only white person with all black people. Not that I felt intimidated in any way, shape or form, because they were all lovely. But they did get out the lynching photos to wind me up. And they showed me what had gone on, and like this. And I remember one of the guys going, like that. Really? But they were just in jest. Just in jest, But it was interesting to be in that situation where you're the only person of colour,
I've never experienced it.
I've never experienced it before.
I've been the only ginger.
Yeah, and
but a little bit different that.
And it was
I've never experienced that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, not to say there was no intimidation whatsoever, just fun and
I
banter.
suppose being in London,
You know.
you're used to the multicultural society
Absolutely,
and everything like that.
yeah.
But
Ricky's boy, I'm his godson and stuff. It's just
nice.
kind of like, it's lovely. We're still in touch, and so from there, I decided then, because history is my passion.
when did you find your passion for history? Is it always from a school age?
Always been, yeah. Even at school, yeah, and just in Newark, just history in Newark. I'm always looking up. I don't look down. There's always different things you see. And then I thought, what am I going to do now? Because I can't keep doing what I'm doing and drinking and stuff. Do you get a job? Do you do this? I'm going to go to university.
Okay.
So was it 14?
Just before I was 37, because I had my 40th birthday there, and I thought, yeah, that'll be good for me. So I enrolled on a Bay Honours. The other thing was, because playing in the bands, I'd always wanted to get a degree. Am I capable of doing that? Will I be able to get a degree? Am I bright enough to get a degree? All these things are, I'm going to, if I don't succeed, it's okay.
You've tried it?
Yeah. I was at my mum and dad still, so there's no rent to find. I thought, if I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to get the opportunity again.
That's taking a chance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's again, do I get the opportunity to go to London? Do I get the opportunity to go to Barbados? Do I get all these little opportunities? Yeah, I'm going to go for it. I've always been like that.
There's a thing, isn't there, about being a yes man?
Yeah, there is an entire film on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yes Man. Have you not seen it?
No.
Yeah, there's
Never
an entire
heard of it.
film. Have you not?
No.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an entire film called Yes Man. Jim Carrey in it.
Jim Carrey.
Oh,
actually.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying
I'm
he's,
crap with film names out.
you know, he's got to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Because he's just so negative.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
So
Be a yes
he,
man.
he does make you think.
You never know.
Yeah,
With a podcast.
so with it being a comedy,
Yeah.
if you take the comedy aspect out of it,
Yes.
you think of it in a serious point,
Yeah.
I mean, from a serious
Totally.
point of view. Just
Be a
make you
yes
think.
man.
So
So
I,
you've been quite a yes man then.
I think I have.
By the
Now you
sound-
mention it.
By the sound of it, you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I move to London? Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think when you're young like that, you can make these things. If it goes wrong, I remember what's his name? Is it Trevor Dyson that does the Dyson vacuums? Is his name Trevor? I can't remember. Yeah, but he said his whole life has been a disaster, one disaster after another, where he's tried to engineer things and it's failed. So it's a fail, it's a fail, it's a fail, it's a fail. And everything he's done is basically lived a life of failure until he got what he did. And I thought, well, if I fail, I can just start again. I can just move on.
doesn't
and
matter,
start.
does it?
It doesn't matter.
You didn't have the degree, so
Didn't have
you're
the
not-
degree, and if it
Was
fails,
it
if it
Thomas
doesn't work-
Edison that did the light bulb?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't there
And
a
he's
bit
like-
of a conspiracy around that?
A black guy actually invented the filament. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he invented the filament.
Yeah.
Not the light bulb.
Not the light bulb. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And but so I thought, yeah, I'll go to university. Probably one of the worst decisions I've made, being a fresh year at university with all the younger students.
Flesh you at 32nd.
Yeah. Yeah, because the drinking culture that went with it did me no favours whatsoever.
Did you get flashbacks to?
Yes.
I mean, outright.
Yeah.
There's a question.
Yeah.
How's that sort of modern? How long ago was that when you was at uni?
Yeah, say 2005 to 9. No, 2005 to 9.
So 2005.
6 to 9. 6 to
So
9.
we're talking
yeah.
what? 16 years.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
Mhm.
So how was that youth culture of partying and going out in comparison to Nottingham when you was at uni age?
Yeah.
When you left home.
Yeah.
How was that a comparison?
I reverted back to that age.
Was the modern sort of style of partying
It
as
was-
hard as?
No, I don't think it was. Don't think it was. The drinking culture went like, but me being the person I am, I was mentoring people who were drinking too much while I was drinking too much. Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of saying, a couple of guys. I said, no, you really are. We need to get back home now, and how ironic is that? That I'm still drinking too much, but I'm mentoring.
Was you drinking too much and it having the same effect on you because you'd been drinking longer, or you
Yeah,
kind of
but-
just knew the signs and you'd subconsciously knew when to stop?
Didn't bounce off walls or get paralytically drunk. I'm never drunk to bounce off walls. I just know. I actually know when I've got my limit. I know when to stop. But when you're talking 7-8 pints of Jack Daniels and shots and stuff like that. In the morning, you're
going to feel a bit groggy.
You feel a bit groggy. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've just had this story pop into my head.
Go on.
So we went to a gig. It was in Sutton in Ashfield, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At the Diamond. I don't know who we're seeing playing, but you was well on your way.
Mm-hmm.
you was gone.
Right.
I believe. I think the nickname Trash came to relive.
Right.
So you've got the stage. The stage was here. Obviously, the crowd congregating in front of the stage. I was at the back. I think I was driving, so I was stone cold sober. So I see Tony bobbing away. Then suddenly,
Oh God, yeah, I remember.
collapse. He just went from bouncing just to fall back. No bend. You know, like only falls on horses. Devil boy leans. It was like
Bang.
and he's gone. I don't know why that popped into my head, but
No, I did a Tyson Fury though. I jumped back up, didn't I?
yeah, we just won this weekend. That's great, didn't we?
Yeah. But yes, there was the drug. As far as I knew, there was no drug culture within the thing because I would have stopped it. I would have stopped it if I'd have seen them taking it because I know what I'd been through.
And what would you have said if you had this old guy?
Yeah, I know.
When you was 18, trying to stop you.
Exactly. Because what was another thing in London we used to...
Hindsight, though, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ran a fetish club called Club Fantastic. And when you'd been taking various things like acid or any of the things we used to take, and I remember being down there and the music was boom, 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 and it's in my head. And I had one of those horrible situations where if I'm ever in a club that's got that sort of music now, I have to leave. Because
Really?
that's in my head now. Yeah, I cannot do it because of the fetish clubs down there and how off our faces we actually were down there.
Really?
Yeah, we can walk and talk, but you weren't there. It was like...
And that was down to...
Yeah, it was acid.
Anything.
Yeah, and anything we used to take, the pills.
And there was
yeah,
in London, the same rock and roll sort of time.
That was the same time, yeah, when we ran that. I've forgotten all about that. Club Fantastic. It even had a swimming pool in there.
The fetish swimming pool.
Yeah. We used to go skinny dipping in there. It's, the sights we've seen in there is just incredible. But again, it was all on tap.
Have you ever done psychedelics?
Yeah, that's it. We did that. I was just trying to remember. What is it? I can't remember now. We'd say from the acid we used to do, the microdot, that was it. That's what I'm trying to think
Have you had any powerful psychedelic visions, experiences?
Yes.
Or has it been clouded by
No,
it?
up when your out of body experiences where you're up looking down at yourself.
Have you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's wild tripping?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Well, just in the bedroom trying to get yourself straight.
Right, okay.
And you're up in the corner looking down at yourself, which is just incredible.
I bet that's really weird.
It is really weird.
Have you got any, or can you, I know when people talk about psychedelics, they say you can't put into words what you see.
No, it was weird. All I wanted to do, because I thought that out of body experience, that was leaving me.
You thought you was dead?
Yeah, literally thought it was dead. And that was just going out there. And all I wanted to do was bring it back in. And it did. And I know many years ago, there was, this probably sounds strange, the paranormal thing that goes with it. I remember having something enter inside me that I didn't know what it was, but it wasn't very nice.
While under the influence?
No.
So that was
stone cold sober?
Stone cold afterwards. And somebody would come into me and stone cold sober, and it was in me, and I didn't know what it was, and I just wanted it out. And I felt irritated, I felt miserable. It's like possessed by something not very nice. And I used to go to sleep and dream, and I used to even say, my ex now, she says, you used to wake up going, oh, it was trying to get it out. And I remember one night, I remember she said, you literally lifted off the bed, arched your back, and went, oh. And from that day on, it had gone.
And that's recent?
That's 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just, it was...
Maybe that was the demon that was living inside them.
We don't
Possibly.
know. They've all got them, isn't it? Yeah, all this time. Yeah, all this time. But since that day, I've felt better for it. But she'll tell you, I used to moan and groan all the time. And I knew it was inside me trying to get out. Mm-hmm. So whether that came in years ago or when it came in, I don't know.
Wow, that's bizarre.
I don't know. Yeah, it is.
That's bizarre.
It is.
So you just touched on paranormal there. Obviously,
yeah.
In my head, you're big into the paranormal.
Absolutely.
And should we say unexplained?
Mm-hmm.
Where did that start?
It started with Arthur C. Clarke's Mysteries of the World book.
Mysteries of the Universe.
Mysteries of the World, Mysteries of the Universe.
I've still got.
And then I collected the books, and the more I delved into it, the more intrigued I got, and the more I believed it. When I say a young kid, when I saw that figure just walk across in front of me when I'm walking the dog, shot back home. But that's never been explained to me.
What was you, 10 at the time?
10, 11, yeah.
You told me the story.
Yeah, just walking the dog down the lane and just seeing this figure in the bush. What's that? It was dusk, 7, 8 o'clock at night, not late. and this figure just walked straight across in front of me and just disappeared. And I shot home because I'd never seen anything like it in my life. Mum and Dad, what are you talking about? It was stupid. You know, it's just kind of like, you know. But I'd seen it, and that stayed in my mind. Scared me for a long time.
That sparked your interest.
Yeah, sparked the interest. What was that? What did I see? And then, again, back while I was in London, became the historical advisor to the Institute of Paranormal Research, where we used to go out and investigate all sorts of things. And I've seen things that I cannot explain. I'm supposed to be the rational one that can explain everything.
So you're impartial. So everybody there,
absolutely.
What does an investigation team consist of?
Yeah,
The clairvoyants, the mediums, the people doing the recording, doing the video, and then just people who are just coming along just to experience the part of the team. They want to see something. They want to feel something.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people got scared witless when we've been in investigations and gone upstairs and never come down again around the fire. That was at Woodchester Mansion, which is one of the haunted places I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact location now, but it was down. You drove about 3/4 mile down a track, and we got access to it. We got stone thrown at us. We saw a spiral of smoke come up from the ground, and we're looking at this. And we're all like, "Wow!" You know what I mean? This is all on video. They still got it. You know,
is this during the London times?
It's London time, yeah. Sorry, flashback. Yeah, the London times and the Viaduct Tavern where we did. There was one. You see, how do you work the story out? When I'd done the research, I'd gone into the archives. I dug up that a prostitute was killed downstairs. Her name was Emily in the downstairs toilet. The medium that came, part of the team, Andy. He came in. Where's the loose? They're down there. He came back up and he said, "Oh, I've got a spirit down there. I don't know what it is. It's a lady. Violent death, I think." Already, I think her name was Emily. Now, I'd uncovered that in the archives, and he had no chance of finding it.
How do you uncover something like that?
You go through, you look at the deaths in the area.
From a certain time?
Yeah, from a certain time, and they're all in the magazines. You go through, you scroll through all the newspapers.
Oh, this is old school. This is...
Oh, gosh, yeah. Before computers.
I'm sorry.
There's
no Google on
it. You've got the little reels that you have to type with. Yeah, this is,
Wow.
again, sort of early 90s and stuff. And it's, and we
So
go
there were no way you could have found that then, really?
No chance, no, because I was in there probably 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, because
digging
it's
it up.
not like now,
And it
is it,
wasn't-
where you can just type it in on Google and it comes
there
up.
wasn't. So things like that. And then when I said to him, I said, "Oh, wow, now you mention it, I'll show you the cutting." And I'd obviously photocopied it. And he said, "Oh, right, yeah, I thought that was the name. It was a horrible death, you know." And the pub had said that...
See ya!
Yeah.
That had freaked me out a little bit.
The lights had gone on and off, the toilet used to flush, you know. And the only thing we got in the whole investigation, we heard children's voices upstairs and laughing and giggling, but we never saw anything else. That was it. It was there the whole night. So sometimes we've had investigations and nothing has happened at all. You know, nothing. Yeah. You know. So that got my belief in it. And going down to Wiltshire, again, 1999, 2000s, and going on the crop circle hunts that we used to do, we used to see some things down there. I've watched white balls drop 2 balls down and fly off in different directions.
You see, there's been a big thing, hasn't there, lately about UFOs? With...
Has he?
Yeah, with the American government leaking. I'm not saying leaking, releasing something. I can't remember the full story.
I don't watch the news and I keep off all that stuff on social media.
Yeah, they're releasing
sort of negativity. So
they're confirming that that's a UFO or that's a flying object. We don't know what it is.
Yeah,
we're investigating it, especially going down to the water. A lot of UFOs that they released are seeing, there's releasing footage from pilots going into water and not coming back out. So it's
I've seen unidentified flying objects, whether there's aliens in them, outer world, otherworldly people, or the remote. I don't know, but I'm a big believer. And the crop circles we've been in as well. Some are definitely man-made. Others are impossible to be man-made. I remember flying over with a guy called Busty Taylor. If you Google him, you'll find him. And we'd gone over Stonehenge looking for crop circles. I was staying at the Barge Inn at the back, which is a big crop circle pub where you can camp at the back. And we got to know all the crop circle people down there. Took us over, another guy in the back. Came back about half an hour later. This huge formation had appeared. And we went over that.
Within half an hour?
Within half an hour. And that's online, you can Google it. And, I think it was called the Julia set or something. But it was incredible, And again, we went out to try and...
Is there any explanation you've got?
I have no idea. absolutely 100%
Wow.
no idea at all. But I'm in formations, and when you see them in a photograph, it's stunning. But when you actually go down and you see, how the hell can somebody, like 3 or 4 guys, recreate this at night with no one seeing them and be absolutely dimensionally accurate?
Yeah, this is what's always
Baffles
got me
my
with
brain.
things like that. It's the accuracy
Yeah.
that these things are produced. I'm not being funny, right? But I used to be a fan of Art Attack when I was a kid. And Neil Buchanan, right? He were amazing at, they had a camera on a crane back then. And, and he were amazing at doing these big pieces of artwork. But when you look at crop circles or even anything to the extent of the Great Pyramids of Giza and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
How can anybody...
What's your theory on the pyramids?
I honestly do think that they are some sort of...
For what purpose?
Possibly landing craft.
Landing on top of
pads. Yeah, possibly landing. Or even if it was some sort of mark that they can see from space to guide them down.
It does say
to
it lines up with the Rhine's belt, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It does line up
It does. It does.
Yeah, it's just the 2 pyramids and 1 offset, isn't it? And I think they're trying to create, whoever built them, heaven on earth, because you've got the Milky Way, which is the Nile.
Heaven on earth. Who's that?
Yeah. I just think that's what they're trying to create in Egypt.
Oh, right.
Whoever built them.
Sounds like a bull.
You've got the Nile, which I think was the Milky Way. You've got Rhine's belt. And if you actually take it back, not 2,500 years, 10,000 years, it's actually above and it fits perfectly over.
Does that come into the 2 timeline things? That, cause I've read somewhere that apparently there's 2 offset timelines, and when they've predated things, they're actually older than what they actually thought, because
the Sphinx is water weathered and it hasn't rained in that area for over 10,000 years.
This is what I mean. Whereas when they actually look at it and they just take it off of the previous timeline, the present timeline, it doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up at all.
It doesn't add up at all. No. And it's because there was an old timeline before all the timeline started of Christ and
well, the Mayans gave the first calendar, didn't they?
Something. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I just know the vague kind of thing.
I think also, Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's something along the lines of the Great Pyramids are on the same latitude line as another phenomena. And
pyramids around the world, like
all of the pyramids on the same ley line.
Because they're not the easiest things to build.
Well, no.
And they're all over the world. They're all over the world.
I can't build a fucking card pyramid.
And they're all over the world.
Yeah, it is very, very bizarre.
And under the sea as well. You've seen the pyramids under the sea.
And the Mars.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Mars one?
Well, the face on
moon.
Mars.
No, sorry, the moon.
The pyramids
moon. It's the pyramids on the Mars. Yeah, the pyramids on Mars.
On Mars, yeah.
What do you think about them?
Yeah, I think that was colonised years ago.
That's an ancient civilization.
Ancient civilization that's gone.
It wouldn't surprise me if they found that because they've sent something up. They've sent something there now, haven't they, to go and actually land and discover things and do whatever. I don't know what it's.
It's better to colonise them. Is it? Are we?
Like I say, I don't watch the
sending people
news
to
and
Mars?
stuff.
They're hoping to.
Yeah, they're hoping
sure,
to.
but people are signed up and
Yeah,
it's a one-way ticket.
Yeah, they have got people signed up. I actually got a thing on my Facebook asking me to sign up at one point, and I was like,
the beard on Mars.
I'm not even joking.
By the way,
I
Adam's
genuinely
not
did.
scruffy. You're doing a year-long charity.
Yeah.
You explain it. Just so when,
It's
you're
a 12-month beard growth for the Trussell Trust. They basically provide food parcels and packaging for people that can't necessarily afford food at that point in time within their life. Everyone goes through struggles,
awesome.
And things like that. So, you've got young families that have started out and they've got nothing. You've got, they help provide for people that was once homeless that have now got housing, but they still haven't got a job, for example. Or just people that are genuinely struggling. Food banks and all things like that. Yeah.
So if you do want to sponsor the beard, Adam will leave a link down below where you can catch him up.
I'll pop it.
Anyway, off subject there.
I'm just scruffy.
No, yours is at least it's trimmed. Mine's not been trimmed
trimmed.
other than this little bit here. Mine's not been trimmed now since the 1st of February this year. 1st of February. I've not touched anything of it.
You're going to have to do a reaction video when you shave it off the baby.
Yeah.
Adam's son is 4 weeks old tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, 4 weeks tomorrow, yeah.
So that'd be quite a nice reaction to shave it off and see if we get the cries. Anyway, where was
it? The UFOs we've seen down in Wiltshire, we've seen things with witnesses that we just can't explain. Whether it's fiery balls, say the disc that let 2 go, and the other direction. And my ex she'll tell you this. This is a true story at Skegness, and she says, "Oh, all these UFOs. What do you say?" I said, "Well, sometimes you just ask to see."
Do you believe in CE5? Yeah, that's what I'm on about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask, believe, receive.
Ask, believe, receive. And was laid on Skegness Beach, and I said, "Just ask to see. What do you mean?" I said, "Just lay back, and if you want to see one." And all of a sudden, she went, "What the hell is that?" Well, this silver disc. I kid you not, on my child's life.
Wow.
The silver disc came out. She went, "What the hell is that? What? Oh my God!" I said, there you go. Anyway, it just went like this. Flew thing. Boom, gone. It was just hovering there. It was not a plane. Because I know the flight. You see the flight paths over Skegness. They all go.
I'm not being funny, but 90% of planes, or don't quote me on the figure, but it's a figure of speech in it. You can go on flight radar and they pop up and you can see, but every plane or something that should be there should be
that was
registered.
Not moving, and then it went off to the right. And I've been on UFO watching with people, and I know it's a plane. To them, it's a UFO. They're adamant it's a UFO. It's a UFO. Yeah, it's a plane. It's a plane. Right. It's a plane. No, it's all right. If you think so, yeah.
If
but
you
it's
want
a
to
plane.
think that,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and you know what it is. You know it's a plane. But people are convinced that they are. So that was that's intriguing that you just ask and see. And I've done it several times in my life, where I've just asked. And they've just shown. Yeah, they've just shown.
There's a lot of that. It's C5 contact. I don't know what the CE stands for.
Don't know.
But yeah, it's a big thing. They have them in the UK.
Yeah.
What's that?
CE5 contact group, where people get together. So they'll do one in the Peak District. It's local to here, and they'll go to a quiet area, and everybody will sit and almost put themselves into a meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what I'm talking about? So they'll clear the mind, empty the mind, and just put thoughts out there that come visitors, etc. And that's a CE5 meeting. I'd love to go to one.
Yeah,
I'd love to go to
that
one.
does sound really interesting.
Yeah, I have to do a podcast on one.
Yeah. See if we can get somebody that's been to one.
Is he?
All right, he's here.
He's just done it at Skeggy Beach, mate.
No, I'm on about you said
an organiser.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So if there's any one of them that
that'd be cool.
Get in contact, 'cause that'd be really, really interesting to get you on.
That'd be really good.
One of the most unbelievable stories, and the only people that 4 of us that were in on it would believe it, is that we were going to fake one when we was at the barge inn. Was going to go to where Silbury Hill is.
Fake what?
A crop circle. Sorry. And we drew the design. And 3 o'clock in the morning, we got up, we headed over to do what we'd done with the design. You go over there, you do this, we'll try and do. So it wasn't a big one. Got there, already there. We all stood there.
The same design?
Same design. Absolutely speechless. What's going on there?
Be like, that's a story that only then 4 people will know is 100%
100% true. But you can't make a story like that up, because it's kind of like, I wouldn't get the idea to make the story like that up. It's just that we've been there and done that, and we all just stood there speechless, hairs on the back of our neck gone up. What's going on?
I've never seen a ghost. I've never had an out-of-body experience. I've never seen a UFO. Have you, Adam?
No.
Why do you think all this is attracted to you?
All right. I haven't seen a UFO. I've seen things, but I've, like, in terms of up in the sky, that I can't necessarily explain. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a UFO. But I've not had things all the time like flight radar or whatever else to double check it. So
get
it's
the
just
rational explanation for what you're saying.
Yeah, I've seen things like, and I've gone, what the bloody hell was that? And then it's like, and I just check it off.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that I don't necessarily believe or disbelieve in that kind of thing. It's at the time, it doesn't affect me in that kind of way.
Right.
I just kind of check it off and go, yeah, whatever, forget about it, carry on.
Yeah.
Why do you think this attracts to you?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of stuff to happen to one person.
I think it's because it's happened to me.
You're receptive.
I've recepted to it, so I research it more and more and more. I haven't had anything happen apart from at the dry cleaners, which there is video footage of.
The current dry cleaners?
Yep. Sorry, the dry cleaners are home now. Cutting to another story.
Yeah.
Where all the hangers just started moving independently to themselves. I've got it on video. And I was like,
So it
what's
couldn't have
going
been
on?
wind then?
I was like, it was at evening time. And all of a sudden, one just started twisting, the other one started twisting, the other one started twisting. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Then I heard a crash upstairs. What the hell? On my own. Ran up the stairs. Things everywhere. Guitar fallen over. Wow. So stick the guitar up that, crash downstairs, go downstairs, clothes all over the place. It's never happened since. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. I say, I've got the footage. I'm filming, put the guitar back up. I hear clang on the guitar. I'm nowhere near it. Like, wow, guitar. As I'm filming the guitar, I said, go on, play the guitar again. Go on, show us it. I didn't know in my eye line the chair is moving towards me. Yeah, I didn't see it. You know, just sort of go.
So it was when you watched it back you saw that?
Yeah, well, I was filming the guitar. I'm going, go on, play the guitar. Go on, filming this. Chair's getting closer and closer. All of a sudden, the chair goes smack straight into my leg. I'm out of here. Turn off the recording, and I just leave the shop.
See, yeah.
Gone. But it was on the site of an old pub. It's called the Reindeer. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it is where the shop is. So just things like, but nothing's happened since. That's it, done. You know.
How we do time?
About 50 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, and
So do you think you put yourself, because you're so, I'm trying to just make a sense of why so much happens to one person.
Yeah, I know.
It's like bad luck. Why one person has bad luck or good luck or...
Well, this is why I've never understood. I know that these people kind of like exist and stuff, you know, like going back to your paranormal stuff, like your mediums and things like that. Why is it only certain people have got that ability or skill? Why does it just happen to them?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so disbelievable to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
especially...
I've never had that happen to me. It's not as if something's that sat there. You know, I've seen, well, I've had one experience of someone who said that there was, is it a medium, is it the right word still? Where we were randomly out on a night out and they turned around to me and they went, H says he's all right.
Right.
And that my granddad was always Grandad H.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, I'd never met this person and they looked straight at me when they said it. And then they just carried on doing what they were doing. As it, you know, it was just randomly out of the blue. And you know when you're not even really there to see that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And you're just having a drink and then you kind of look as if to go, oh, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they just meet eyes with you and they just go,
yeah. Well, I'm not the sort of person to go into a room and sense something. Sometimes I do. I think, oh, it feels a bit oppressive. It feels a bit weird. But I'm not there. Oh, there's a guy standing over there. There's a lady. I'm not that sensitive.
See ya.
But again, another story happened with my little boy Oliver. He was about 5 or 6 years old. And we was going past the pylons, used to call them robots, used to shoot the pylons. And I said to him, your granddad, your great-granddad, my granddad, used to build those. And he used to build it. And I said, yeah. And he said to me, I used to build those. I said, you used to build them? I said, when was that? He said, in my other life. This was Oliver. And I said, all right, laughing, joking. I said, in your other life, did you? Yeah. I said, what was your name? Sydney.
Really?
My granddad's name. I'd never mentioned him before.
I've had similar with Nicky.
Sydney. My hairs, I just froze. I said, Sydney? Wow. And that's not a common name at the moment, is it?
No, it's not.
No, not at all.
Slowed the car right down, pulled over. What else do you know about Sydney? Just used to build the pylons.
That's one of them points where you pull over and you'd have a fag.
Yeah.
Even if you don't
You
smoke.
start smoking again.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
just...
oh.
Wow. You know, how do you explain that? That's such a random
That is
thing
really
to come
odd,
out
isn't
with.
it?
Yeah.
But again, why that's happened to you?
Why does that happen to me? Yeah, I know. It is. And for say that went on the inspiration to write the stories about the, you know, the what's it called? We're all going to die one day, and do you want to know? And things like that.
What's the scariest sort of situation you've been in when we're talking paranormal? If you could pinpoint the most scariest thing, I don't want to be here, I need to go, fuck this paranormal stuff.
I think that was when I was that little boy seeing that figure go across the road, to be honest with you. Yeah, because that stayed with me.
I suppose you was young at the time.
yeah.
Watching
Yeah,
telly.
it's a bit different, isn't it, when
Yeah,
you're a kid?
I could cope with all the other little bits and pieces we've seen and stones being thrown at us, even though we're all holding hands in the middle of it, you know. But there's nothing that's really scared me rigid. I want to see. I want to believe.
Maybe that's why it appears to you.
Yeah, maybe
because
so. I'm open.
Susceptible to it, yeah.
And I do think spirits and whatnot, I do believe in spirits, even though I've not seen, I do believe in ghosts. I think there's more to energy.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm very much, it's about energy.
Everything
has an energy.
Yeah.
And I've
Positive
always,
energy, negative
I've always
energy.
been told energy cannot be lost, it can only be transferred. And that's been scientifically
100%.
proven.
Yeah.
In fact,
where does that go?
Sorry, just talking about scientific provings. I saw a post on Facebook the other day. I don't know how true Facebook is, obviously. It was
far from 9 times out of 10.
I know it wasn't just somebody like me saying, "Oh, I was in that." It was a document, a link to a
an advertised post.
No,
of thing.
it wasn't
no,
sponsored. No, it was like an article.
Right, okay.
Where the scientists now have managed to measure the soul, and the soul has a weight. Yeah, I don't know what country it was in.
That's my belief, Steve, that we all have a soul, and
Yeah.
I think that's what carries on when you're dead.
Yes,
I do.
the energy. It's energy.
Soul, energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a
we're
huge
all on
believer in the soul. And when they say you've got a rotten soul or a black soul, or they do that, don't they?
That's like talking about auras now,
auras,
isn't it?
Yeah,
auras of your
That's
soul.
energy.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I say, I don't walk into a room and feel things.
No, I know.
But I would walk or meet somebody without saying a word.
That aura.
I know they're not for me.
Yeah.
I know his vibes are either going to bring, because I try to operate at a full level. I eat to operate high. I eat fresh foods to, for the vibrations. Everything I do is to feel good every day and to spread positive vibes. And if somebody, it's either like, I'm going to hit him, he's going to piss me off, I'm going to chin him, or it's just going to bring my vibes straight down.
Yeah.
And it's, You
do get that negative energy, don't you?
Now you've mentioned it like that, then I suppose I do. Is it a preconception of somebody else? Is that what you're feeling? Is it something that you shouldn't really do? Because they always said don't judge a book by its cover.
That's correct.
I try not to be that way. Even when I get that initial feeling of I don't like the look of that person, or I don't like the feel that
benefit of the
that
doubt
person, I try to be the person that I would still openly have a conversation with them. I wouldn't prejudge them. I would, because just because someone is a particular kind of person or they look a certain way.
It's that person that drains you in a room sometimes. The psychic vampire, I think, is the word for it.
Very nice.
They just take it all from you, all their negative energy. They're trying to zap you.
I think that's what empaths suffer from,
yeah,
don't they?
and they do, yeah. And it is that psychic vampire that actually just... And you talk to someone sometimes, you've had a party or a pub or whatever, and you come out and go, oh my God.
Connected.
Wow. And they've taken all your energy.
Energy's gone.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I get that a lot because I try to operate highly and always be upbeat. After a period of time, I can't have no one talk to me. I need to fuck off from my tent for a weekend. And just get away from people because my energy level drops so much.
Yeah.
I do that when I walk the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my thing. I walk the dog.
I need to go out on my own, not speak, not listen, and recharge my batteries.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people take that self-care.
You said not listen. When I walk the dog and I'm out on my own, that's when I do listen. I listen to the sounds of nature and the trees.
Listen to people badgering
I know
about
what you mean.
how bad
But
their
it's
life
like
is.
last time I did that, it were literally a couple of days after Littlin and that were born, after I'd come out of lockdown because I had COVID and whatnot. So when I finally got released from COVID jail, it was like the first day that I was allowed out, I went and walked the dog and I was gone for about 4 hours, 5 hours, because I've been 10 days cooped up inside. And I went to Roach Abbey and I just sat down at the side and the dog were running in and out of the water and I was just listening to the waterfall and the water go by and
I can say to anybody in this podcast, if you are suffering from any kind of depression and mental health, get yourself a dog.
Oh God!
Oh my God! My little dog got me through the whole of lockdown.
Yeah.
Always friendly, always happy to see you.
Little tail wagging every time you come in the house.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So to pull things back a little bit, I think we've gone on to do an explained, which, to be honest, we might have Tony back on for an episode later down the line to just literally a paranormal / unexplained.
How would you like to do a paranormal podcast on site at somewhere and do something live?
Yeah.
Would you be interested? We've not actually discussed this. This is just me genuinely spitballing.
This is a podcast meeting now.
We could castle in Newark, the dungeons in the castle, things like that.
Yeah, something like that.
That'd be good. One of the pubs that I know.
I could also get my cousin Jamie
to.
in on that one, and one of his friends is a psychic medium.
Right. Sounds good.
Right, okay. Pencil that one in.
Pencil that one in.
That's enough for the paranormal unexplained now. My head's hurting a little bit. We're trying to figure this shit out. So, we'll pull it back a little bit to you, Tony.
Yes.
So you got your history degree?
I did in the end. Yes,
That's BA honours.
Yeah, I did. Which I never thought I would get, and then after the first year of partying, settled down. The second year, third year, didn't really go out too much at all. Just calm myself down. Wanted this degree, got the degree, and then I'm at a crossroads again in life. What do I do now? Do I use the degree?
You're in your 40s.
In my 40s now.
With a BA honours in history.
Yes.
Living at your parents.
Yes.
Relationship breakdown.
Yes.
Nearly shut yourself off a bridge.
Yes.
Alcohol addiction. Drug addiction. Where are we going now?
Tony Robinson.
Tony Robinson. We are.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
We I didn't know he had a drug addiction, did he? No, he hasn't. He has not. Just for the record.
Conspiracy.
Fucking Baldrick.
Just for the record. So it was a choice again of what do I do? Do I go and work for a museum? Do I take off travelling around the world?
Did you want to continue with history?
Yeah, I think I did. But I travelled again early 90s, whether it be Australia, Thailand, Japan, wherever we've gone. I managed to get that under my belt. So I wasn't too worried about travelling. Then the opportunity came up. This guy in Newark had set up the dry cleaners called Dry Clean Plus. I heard he was in trouble by a friend of mine. He opened up a dry cleaners without knowing anything about dry cleaning. Just not good.
Not ideal, is it?
Not ideal.
Right.
When I got there, he was in so much trouble. He had this claim and this claim and this claim, and he'd taken the colour on this, and his machine was programmed wrong. And then I went to work for him, and he sort of said, "You don't want to buy it, do you?" So I was thinking the money I'd got from the house, I thought, you know what, is it buy a house or invest in the business? So I invested in the business, and it was during the time with the business that I'd got in my spare time, I started writing the Tales of Old London
You're doing published author as well, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, and the Tales of Old London Town, which I started backtracking again in London in between doing all the stuff I did. I became an historic tour guide in London as well, believe it or not. I don't know how I had time to do all this, but I know.
I've been on one of his tours, mate.
Yes, yeah, you have, haven't you? Yeah.
And do you know what? You spend the whole time... Wow.
Really?
Oh, seriously, mate. Seriously. Really, really good. If we do ever happen to be in London together, we could do one on the road.
We can make it happen.
We could do a podcast
Anything
tour.
can happen.
A very good friend of mine, Steve Watson, if you're watching, which he will, he wants to take me down and film it, put it on the American market. He said, because of the knowledge I've got of the history of London. Oh, you can do it. I'm so sorry.
I'm joking. No, he'll probably know much more about London.
I can do whole day tours down there. I remember the Richard III Society I took down there on a whole day tour. And it's basically within a mile and a half, 2 miles, via all the whole pubs. You can just spend all the time in that little area for a whole day. And we took the coach down from Newark, and they had an amazing time. It was great.
I think some of would you say your alcohol habits helped with the London history? Because a lot of it is based around inns or pubs.
It is, and that's what I used to do. When I used to do my research, and I used to buy antique books on the history of London, I've got thousands. From working in between Chelsea and Battersea, there used to be on the Old King's Road, there used to be a beautiful shop there that was an antique bookshop, and the Oxfam shop there, where it was wonderful. And so I could go and buy all these books, and I'd sit in the pub reading what someone had written about the pub in that pub, and see what changed. And it was amazing, even reading Dickens' accounts of a beautiful pub called the Old Cheshire Cheese on Fleet Street, one of the best pubs in London. Sitting, reading Dickens' description of this pub, where he used to sit. I thought, did he write it here?
Is that the one with the mouse?
That's the...
Didn't they have a little mouse in that pub? A mouse that used to live there but became a pet? The pub built on top of Dickens' old house?
No, that's the Cockpit Tavern. That's this one.
This one.
Yeah.
Tony's book, by the way. Tales
that went on that quite nicely.
What a great link.
A little plug.
Tales of London Town, yeah, Cockpit Tavern. It's the history of London via all its old historic taverns, basically. So, and that book delves into everything from the theory that Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare, and Christopher Marlowe was, I think, wrote Shakespeare. He was supposed to be killed in the Eleanor Tavern by an assassin's hit ordered by Walsingham.
We're going to leave all the conspiracies.
But
Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare.
Shakespeare didn't write it. He didn't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this fact? Or is this a belief? Is this two beliefs of...
The mainstream story is that Shakespeare wrote Shakespeare.
Oh, that's why it's called Shakespeare.
That's what they teach you in school.
Yeah, exactly. I've always been
all the
taught.
Academics but there are very many academics that don't believe he did write Shakespeare, and that's the guy
Marlowe,
Christopher Marlowe.
So that's actual Shakespeare.
No, that's Marlowe.
But he wrote Shakespeare.
Oh no, that's Shakespeare. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that is Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Shakespeare, but there's no evidence.
Wow. Okay.
And when I went on a tour, Stratford-upon-Avon, and they were at Shakespeare's house. Is there any evidence this is Shakespeare? Because I don't think it is. And they're like, well, there's no documented evidence, but it's said to be Shakespeare's house, and and they've got really upset.
Oh, so they couldn't actually give you any factual evidence?
No. And the fact that the portrait of Shakespeare that I've got in the book, there's no actual evidence that is the actual portrait of Shakespeare. Yeah, because his folios were they.
So right now I see where you. So technically, Christopher Marlowe could have gone under an alias of Shakespeare.
What happened
So
was...
to speak.
Well, if you read this, actually... It's my book. No, but he...
Between me and you, I don't read.
No.
I'm not very good at that reading.
We'll do an audio for...
Yeah, we'll do an audio and I'll listen to it.
And, no, but apparently he was sent abroad. He wasn't killed in the Eleanor Tavern. And he kept writing his plays. And Mr. William Shakespeare put his name to them. Yeah.
Very interesting, because you never hear anything
I've never
about...
heard this before.
Well, of course you don't. Because people, can be daft.
Why would you hear something against the narrative?
But when you put the two writers together, there's only one signature of Shakespeare that exists, and it's kind of a scrawl, but yet in some of his folios is William Shakespeare, and it doesn't look real.
Yeah, I remember seeing that because we actually studied the signature and stuff of Shakespeare and that at school. It was part of the thing when we were studying. The one with the witches in the bloody...
Three Witches?
No, the cauldron. No.
I know the one you mean.
That
I'm
one.
trying to remember, yeah.
Absolutely. You know which one I'm on about, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Macbeth is the one.
Macbeth, yeah. When we were studying Macbeth at school, it was one of the things with Macbeth. It was the different Shakespeare signatures.
Yes,
because there was 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah.
And I've got a recollection of studying that.
In Who's Who, I've just put here, and I won't bore you with loads of details. Who's Who in Tudor England, the 1990s, it says Marlowe was under 30 when he died, and some of his admirers have claimed that he, had he lived, would have written plays which might have matched those of Shakespeare.
So he was a renowned
writer. He was a fantastic writer, yeah.
Wow. Seem we can't.
But if you're going to write a book,
can we?
Never can.
You need to write one with a controversy in it. That's what I think.
Yes, you do.
You do, because get people talking about it. It's no use.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, went on to write. There's 16 of these. Publication of 8 and 8 that are coming out into 2 volumes.
Right. Okay. So Tales of Old London Town is the.
So there'll be volume 1 and volume 2.
Yes.
And volume 1 will have 8 of these.
So
they're like basically a chapter.
Into booklets. Yeah,
so that is
34
all about the Cockpit Tavern.
And the surrounding areas.
Right.
But
so
it also goes on...
Book 2 is another pub, I take it?
Goes on, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The Old London Tavern, then it goes on to the Viaduct Tavern. But all the surrounding areas, churches, buildings, people who drank in the pub. Fleet Street.
I remember Fleet Street, mate. Like I said, if we do go down to London, Fleet Street, Tony will keep you there for hours.
Not many people know that's a true story, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. People say it's a myth. It's not a myth.
I never thought that was a myth.
Yeah. But people do. It didn't exist. You do if you do
really.
Research. Yeah, I've got contemporary accounts.
That's an old Oxfam shop. The last time I went, it was a book
Printers.
shop. Was it a Printers?
That's right. It's a
and
Printers.
you're staring at the front of this shop.
I know.
See, I don't know what you know. The actual history of London. That's what that proper history of London. I don't know. All your tourist attractions, been there, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt. You know what I mean? I've been brought up with my uncle living in London, so it's like we've done Madame Tussauds, we've done all the. But that's bullshit as far as I'm concerned. That's bullshit, London.
These books are the plots, the murders, the executions, the mysteries.
You see, that's the history of London.
The history of London.
And that's the side of London that I know nothing of. So it would be interesting if we did go and do something around there. I'd absolutely love it. It'd be like, you know what I mean? Even if we just went for a day, we got there early morning and we travelled back at night on the bloody megabus or whatever it is, or drove down or whatever.
Absolutely. Catch the train down and
train, whatever, or...
Like I put here. So leave the beaten track, take the book with you, then you soon discover the lesser known London, a more interesting London, a secret hidden London.
Do you know what? So you're down in Fleet Street, because Fleet Street, if I remember rightly, was famous for the newspaper. There's the first newspapers down there, and the banks and stuff.
Yeah.
So
The Street of Ink, they called it.
The middle of this hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Then Tony will say, no, just come here. There's a pub down here. The Old Cheshire Cheese. I remember the Old Cheshire Cheese.
Yeah.
It is one of the most atmospheric pubs
Spit and Sawdust.
Yeah, I've ever sat
And that's
in,
one of the booklets I've got here as well.
it's
Dickens' favourite pub. Dr. Samuel Johnson, you probably remember him from the character that played in Blackadder. Robbie Coltrane played him. First person that wrote the dictionary.
Yeah.
And Blackadder comes out.
Sausage!
Configuration.
Configurabilities.
Yes, configurabilities, that's it. What? Configurabilities.
I give you my most sincere configurabilities.
But a lot of people say that Dr. Johnson, even though he lived in Gough Square at the back, didn't drink in the Old Cheshire Cheese. But again, I found contemporary reports that he did drink in the Old Cheshire Cheese. Because a lot of people say there's no reference, but Guildhall Library, British Library, London Library, I've spent hours and hours and hours trawling through archives, and I did find
my question, though, if someone turned around to me and said that would be, well, why would they not drink there if
exactly,
they are local?
Exactly. I know.
Because I'm not being funny, I don't go out drinking a lot.
Because his biographer,
if you go out with any local pub round here, I've been in it.
Yeah, James Bosworth, his biographer, never mentioned it. In one of the best biographies ever written about people. Mentions the other things like the Mitre Tavern they used to drink in, but never mentions the Old Cheshire Cheese. And Goldsmith, another one of his acquaintances, never mentions the Old Cheshire Cheese. And Johnson never mentioned the Old Cheshire Cheese in any of his writings. So that's why this thing. I think they were just too drunk.
See, that seems more odd to me that it's not mentioned than it being mentioned.
But literally lived in Gough Square, which is a stone's throw away from the Old Cheshire Cheese.
We're going to have to do this.
Yeah,
we're going to have to do London Town. We're going to have to do live Tales of Old London Town.
If you want to come, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
Sorry, I know we're...
Chances are I'm probably going to be behind the camera for that one.
Fabulous.
And it'll be, you two kind of like talking and
Well,
going
a little bit Tony.
Sounds
Yeah. But
I know we said we're going away from paranormal and stuff, but just touching on the tour that Tony took me on, there was a pub where we went in and there was a single seat fenced off with a gate.
Right.
And the story behind that was there was a regular that died in there, going back years, and his ghost still haunts. That was his seat. And since he died, nobody else was allowed to sit in this seat.
Oh, where's that?
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping you could tell me.
I can't remember, buddy.
But, and there's stories or sightings of this little gate opening.
And
shutting, and the guy that presuming is the guy who's going to sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down in his seat.
Nobody's sat in that seat since the guy died.
Yeah.
And whether it's
I'm so sorry, I can't remember.
whether it's load of balls or whether there's truth behind it, what a nice sentiment. What a nice gesture that is. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't it? Yeah.
But even just to be sat
even
there,
to this day, there's nobody that, so they cordon that off.
it's fenced off.
Fenced off.
With a little picket fence.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because
you can't remember that
think, as daft as it sounds, I'm putting my business head on now, right?
Yeah.
That seat's
The
opposite
one
a
extra
table
seat,
or something, isn't it?
It was just in the corner. It's just
Yeah, it was.
wherever
It was
it
in a
is.
raised step.
Yeah, that's
right.
right. Yeah.
So you think, right, as much as daft as he sounds, right, he's probably died years and years and years ago. Just that one seat, how much money would that one seat have made that pub if they'd have let somebody else sit in it?
But then that story goes around about that pub. How many people are attracted to that pub to go and see that seat?
See that seat.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Clever, isn't
that's
it?
your business
Clever,
head.
isn't it?
Clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah. And I remember at one of the pubs, I think it was the George in Southwark, where she bought a parrot that could, the profane parrot they wanted to call it, that would talk and it would do that. But the parrot never talked. So the parrot became the talk of the town to go and see the parrot that couldn't talk to try and make it talk. Because the talking parrots, there's one in the Old Cheshire Cheese called Polly, and she used to swear words and stuff. I remember when the King went in, I can't remember, it was King George or whatever, and it went in there. They were just hoping to God that this parrot wouldn't swear because the soldiers used to swear at it all the time.
Yeah.
And Armistice Day, when the war was over, popping a champagne cork, apparently this Polly the parrot mimicked so many that it fell off his perch, dead. Yeah, pop, 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 pop. And I put in my book, it's not true. I just put, I said, and as I left, I could distinctly hear the sound of popping champagne corks. Funny enough, I was the only one in the pub, and it was just that's how I ended. But obviously, it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, that's cool.
But I love the fact that parrot couldn't talk.
How far away along with these books then?
They're ready to go.
They're all ready to
They're
go.
all ready to go.
All 16 of them. Yeah, just crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Nice.
And I've just got to have a trip down to London just to make sure that all these things are still relevant.
Welcome.
And yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
how
great.
can people, when the time comes when people can purchase these, how do they buy them? When
Tales
do
of
they buy
Old London Town is now on Facebook.
them? Okay.
Facebook group, isn't it?
It's
Facebook group.
It's a blog,
Right,
basically.
Adam, can you put links in?
Yeah, I'll put links in, I'll bring banners up or whatever else that we need to, don't
And
we?
I'm just finding the best way to market it and get it in, find the publisher that's right for me to get it all out.
I think great place
Still
to
looking.
start is live podcast.
Yeah, I think
For
so.
marketing.
I think so. I think
We've
you're
done
right.
all right.
I think you're right.
We've done all right.
So I went from wanting the rock and roll lifestyle to then doing this and getting a degree, writing the books. Because say the best thing, it sounds really odd, but splitting up from my ex-wife let me write these books, because I went on all the old books. I went on little mystery tours. Does that still exist? Does this still exist?
Just to keep
Is
your
that still
mind
there? Is that church? Just to
busy.
focus my mind and stop
So
drinking.
these arguably could have
Yeah.
saved your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just
And if that's
plunging
worth
myself into-
reading, mate, or
Yeah, of
buying
course
just
it
for
is,
that
of course
reason,
it is.
Absolutely.
then yeah.
Yeah, but as I say, got an inspiration of Dickens. He was an insomniac, so he used to walk the town and he used to describe what it was like. And I did the same thing. 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd be in the middle of London and watch the city come alive. You know, from the
I bet that's
Surreal.
magical, that.
It's amazing. It's like it was.
I bet that's more eerie than some of
started-
the investigations.
In fact,
Yeah, yeah,
I've kind of sat
Yeah.
and watched it from
yeah.
sitting in a Starbucks because I once, when me and my ex-wife
Yeah.
were together, we took the eldest
Yeah.
daughter, like we
Yeah.
took her to London, first ever time, and it was ridiculously expensive for us to travel down at
Yeah.
say 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So we went at like 1 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you were talking like a quarter of the price,
Yeah,
and we didn't have
absolutely.
much money back then. So we thought, right, stuff it.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
can sleep
yeah.
on the bloody bus. We'll
Yeah.
just get a bus,
Yeah.
and the bus ended up stopping somewhere else, like Liverpool or
Yeah.
something, before going down. So it like a 5 hour, 5.5 hour journey. So
Yeah.
like she's got plenty
Yeah.
of time to sleep.
Yeah.
So we actually got there. I think it was for about like 6 a.m. So it was before it really kicked
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
before. This Starbucks opened at 7, so we waited outside
Yeah.
this Starbucks
Yeah.
and went and got a coffee because we were like hanging.
Yeah.
Because we'd been up all night,
Yeah.
with bloody Babby and that
Yeah,
laid
yeah.
across us. And it was like we ended up watching
And
just
it-
London kind of
just
like
come alive.
Yeah.
And it's funny, 3 or 4 in the morning, you go around Soho, and I've taken photographs of these, like those candid ones. You see people like, they're off the faces, they're having a cup of coffee out there. But it's just to see them all staggering home. And
That
I've
was
just
me
got up
20
and
years ago.
And I'm awake, and I'm going through it. And then you see the refuse collectors come up, and then you get the city sweepers come out. And no one knows this, because again, they're up at 7 o'clock. They've all gone by that time. And the city's clean, and everything's picked up, and it's just amazing. It's like it starts to
there's no
breathe.
real hustle and bustle until like 7, half 7.
Oh, 7, yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. And it goes
And
so
then it-
quiet. And
yeah, it's like it's dead.
I never
before
found it
that. It's so
dangerous.
still.
Yeah, I never found it troubling. It was just people just going about them, going home from nightclubs, or say
Anyway.
the people cleaning the city. It was eerie, yeah.
I bet.
And there's a place in London. It's where Newgate Jail used to be. Five taverns there.
That's famous itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Greyfriars Passage. That's in another book. The history of that is amazing. Greyfriars Passage was supposed to be the most haunted place in London. The Black Dog of Newgate haunts it. People have
Was that
seen
the
it.
executioner?
Yeah, that's where they used to do the hangings outside, and it's the Old Bailey now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
I
And,
nearly went to a court case there.
yeah, and
For my
I've been
job,
down,
Old Bailey, yeah.
and the original cells are still there, and I got access to them to go down.
Really? No
yeah,
way.
it was incredible. And there's a place called Dead Man's Walk, and literally you would walk over that to go to your hanging judge, to be executed, to come back to be buried. So you literally walked over the place you were going to be buried. Dead Man's Walk, and that's still there, and you can still see it.
I need to see that.
And there's a little graveyard in there.
Let's do this.
There's various kings and queens buried. There's no plaque there. Queen Isabella, she's buried in there, and it's just all these different. Yeah, and say it's the most, reportedly the most haunted place in London.
Wow.
But going on a November
surprised.
evening and doing it there,
Yeah.
it's okay on a
Yeah.
summer's evening, but going on dark November evening is
Yeah.
the time. When I used to take my tours, used to see things, used to hear things. It was, because it's quiet, really quiet at that time of night. When you're there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, all the city folk have gone home. There's a few pubs that are doing it, but that's the time to do a tour.
That's good.
Yeah, it was. I used to love doing the tours around there.
So what sort of life got in store for you now? Where you at right now?
Where am I at now?
Present day.
Right.
Your business, is that going well?
It was until COVID. Believe it,
Yeah, I
what
think
you
there's
want to
many
believe.
businesses.
Yeah, it is. Hanging on with fingertips.
But you
we're
survived
getting
it?
there. Survived it, because now, going through what I went through, standing on the edge of that bridge like I did, wanting to not be here, now I am here, having a beautiful son. That's my world now. And everything
You've
I
made the
do,
best of every situation
I've
you've
tried
been given,
to.
haven't you?
I've tried to.
Yeah.
I've tried
And that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From rock bottom, chuck it. It's,
It's
I don't know
just
how you can
taking
portray that, mate, to other people that may be struggling.
taking
but
those risks as well. I could have gone the safe route,
get a house.
bought a house, done this, not moved back to my mum and dad's. That wasn't a great thing to do mentally.
You want to have a book.
So I wouldn't have
You
a
want to
book.
have a degree.
Yeah.
You want to have a business.
No, I wouldn't have the business. Sometimes you
I
make
know
your
it
choice.
feels
Like,
to move back
even
to
though,
parents' house,
even though
been there,
it
done it
feels
myself.
not the right thing to do,
And it were awful.
in hindsight, it was the right thing to do.
Of course it were.
It was. For me, we're living in your mum and dad's. Are you really? People look
I had
down on
that.
you. Yeah, look
I had
down on
that.
you. What? How old are you? 35.
26-year-old until I was about 28.
Yeah.
For them few years. You're living with your mum and dad at 26?
Mm.
Yeah, been there, done that.
But I had days out with my mum that she'd never been to places before. She absolutely loved it. We took my mum and dad out to various places. And I love that. So sometimes you have to make decisions in life that don't, if they feel right, then do it.
Gut instinct.
The gut instinct, and that felt right. I'll go and stand on my own, but I want to have written this book. I want to go to university because I can afford it. And it worked for me. And I hope other people, if they're looking, sometimes just have that gut instinct, because that's the right thing, isn't
And
it?
don't be scared.
Yeah.
Nah.
Don't be scared. I mean, we're trying this podcast.
Yeah.
This is episode
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
of a
Absolutely.
live podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to listen to us? Who's going to listen?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
You who's listening now.
Yeah.
And don't be scared to try these things.
Got to.
It's
You've
better
got
to try and fail than
Yeah.
never try at all.
Never
I
try.
live
I
my
were
life
always
like that.
told, right, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%.
Right? 100%. Get comfortable
Get
with being
yourself sorted.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? And it's better to try and fail than to never try at all.
Absolutely. But it got my head straight.
That,
Because I was with familiar people, I was with people that I knew, coming back to where I was, whether it be yourself, whether it be people in the pub, you walk, you see people, hey, you doing, Tony? You're right. Yes, mate, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm doing all
Yeah,
right
I'm doing all right, thanks. Yeah, they don't need to know your story, do they? But and from that, it's one of those things where now I'm in a good place, and I'll never be back in that place again.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate everything in life now.
Even appreciate the bad times. You've
Even
got
the
to.
bad times.
You've got to. People that try and dismiss them. I think that's. I don't.
But I know how to deal with them now.
It's the wrong approach.
I know how to deal
It's
with
the
them
wrong
now.
approach to dismiss the negative times within your life, because at the end of the day, the negative times have shaped you for the positive.
It builds you stronger.
Yeah.
Of course they do. It's just like when you weight train, like my analogy on life sort of thing. You weight train, you want to put muscle on, you'll go to the gym, you'll work hard, you'll tear your muscle.
You can say you've got to rip it to pieces.
But then it grows back bigger and stronger.
Bigger and stronger.
And we're made out of the same things as our muscle.
the brain's a muscle.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a muscle,
You've
same
got
as
to rip
anything
it down
else.
a little bit, or don't be scared to that.
What's the song which says, the higher you build your barriers, the taller I become?
I've just put it into my light
Do you
Spotify
know
list.
that
Have a
lyric
look.
line? That
Have a
lyric
look.
line? Have you really?
Yeah.
Have a look
Yeah.
if you've got it on your Spotify
And
thing.
that says a lot to me.
Your barrier.
The higher I become. And I love that song, and I can't remember who does it, but and that's the thing. Say with this whole thing, every single day now is because I would have thrown myself off that bridge. Whether I would have survived in that water or not, I don't know. But the police officer that grabbed me off, I remember he came back into the hospital where I was, and I had some Ray-Bans on, and he brought the Ray-Bans back, and he said to me, "Are these yours?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, I said, "Are you the guy that pulled me?" He said, "Yeah, you were going, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Thank you." And he saved my life. And I don't know who he is. I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
So every day now is a bonus.
So strong.
So
Sorry.
strong. Yeah, that's all right. No, and I cherish every moment, whether it's like today.
How old was the guy that pulled you back, roughly?
30s.
So it'd still be here
same
now?
age as me. Oh yeah, still be here now. Yeah.
I wonder whether we can.
Don't know.
It can be shared.
Chelsea, Westminster Bridge. What it was, but it's just.
I think he'll remember.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure he
of
will.
course he'd
Yeah.
remember. That's something
How
that you wouldn't
amazing
forget.
would this be?
You remember?
He
He bought
that's
these
what I
and he said, "These your sunglasses?" I said, "Yeah, they are." But he took the time to come back and say, "You're all right." I said, "Get in there."
I
But,
wonder whether that could be shared about.
Yeah.
You have to
make
share
it
That'd be
so.
nice, that would.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it
That'd
would.
be nice.
Yeah, I just
So
trying
what-
to think what year it was, but it was just kind of like, what would it be? Just wow. Just trying to think. So married in 1999.
Well, it's got to be about 2006.
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
It was only a year or so after. So, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
So I'm personally glad you're doing well.
Thanks,
And
buddy.
you're out on the
Doing
dock.
well, doing well.
And you've
And
got
taking
books.
it every day and embracing it when I wake up. Today is another day and you're alive. And as we discussed earlier, there's always that thing where you don't know when the last time you're going to do something.
Yeah, that hit me
Do
hard,
you?
that did.
It's like the last time I've got a little boy. When's the last time I'm going to actually pick him up and give him a hug?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that last time's going to be. I've got no idea.
It could be tomorrow.
I still put my
9 years old,
9-year-old
10 years
daughter
old,
up and
11 years
give her a
old,
cuddle.
12 years old, but I won't know when that last time is,
Yeah.
will I? And the same as you guys, you know, when the last time, like, say, it was my dad, the last time he drove his car, he didn't know that was the last time he drove his car, but he drove his car.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd have known that was the last time, I don't know, or the last time you
If
visited
I
his
knew
pub,
it
or
was
the
the
last time
last
you
time
go...
I was going to drive the car,
Yeah.
I'd be out for hours.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
would.
you would, wouldn't you?
You
Of
would.
course you would.
Yeah, and I remember my grandmother on my dad's side, she just got out of bed one day, collapsed in a wheelchair. So that last walk that she
That last
had,
walk to the bathroom.
Look at my mama though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that last
My
walk.
mama that died, you know,
Yeah.
she got up one morning, took a shower,
Yeah.
collapsed, never
Wow.
did anything again.
Never
Just
walked again.
7 days later she died.
Wow.
She had a stroke. Boom.
So, yeah.
Like that. No signs of a stroke, nothing,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
She just went.
Yeah.
So when's that last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you because we don't know what's around the corner, when that last time will ever be. Like, we played golf today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Then we one day, again, same as my dad did, he had that last game of golf, didn't know it was his last game, we walked off that golf course, had a pint, gone home, last time. But he didn't know.
Mm.
So it's really
That
important.
gives a lot of food for thought.
It does, doesn't
That
it?
really
doesn't
does.
it?
That really does.
It does, to how to just you know, every day is...
That's a positive way. That's
Oh,
a
yeah,
positive
positive
mindset.
way.
It is.
Mindset,
It is.
100%
It's a very
thinking
positive mindset.
Mm.
Because a lot of people probably watch that back and think that's a negative statement.
Mm.
It's not a
I know
negative
what you're saying.
statement.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It is not a negative way of thinking.
No.
It is an appreciative
Yeah.
way of thinking.
Yeah,
It is
absolutely.
a way of thinking where you don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
You make the most of every moment.
And to
because
bring
how
this-
do you know if that's going to be the last
Absolutely.
time that you do that?
And
As
to
I
bring
say.
this up to this date, what's it, the 11th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 11th, 2021. To bring Codiv into it, we didn't know, did we, that everything was going to shut down? We didn't know it was going to
No,
happen
we
again.
didn't have a
We didn't have a clue,
No.
did we, what was going to go on.
No.
And we never knew whether we could go to that golf course again. When
Yeah.
it all shut down, I was like, wow, I'd love a game of golf.
Yeah,
you know,
shit.
I'd love to just have a pint in that pub. We couldn't. Everything was taken away from us. And we didn't know, and we still don't know.
For months, you look at my social media
Yeah.
whilst we were in lockdown and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Can't wait to get on a round of golf again.
Yeah.
Only it was.
Can't wait
Granted,
to
do
meet
you know
my
what I
mate
mean?
in
Well,
a pub
I
or a
used to play
restaurant.
golf a lot.
Yeah.
Like years and years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe like once, twice a week. I used to play golf
Mhm.
when I were 14, 15,
Yeah.
16. I loved it. And then I went through a period of time where I didn't, because I kind of lost interest in the hobby. And then I started picking it back up again. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh wow. And
I
it
think you
was
damaged
like,
your wrist.
yeah, then I've
And
been
now you're back in, like,
Yeah, exactly.
getting into it again
Yeah.
now.
and now I'm kind of getting back into it again. And it's,
Well,
you never know when that
My business used to be open 6 days a week, 8:30, 5:30. I'm 9 to 3 now, Tuesday to Saturdays. That life-work balance, because of what's happened, has completely changed. And when someone comes in and says, why you close Mondays? I play golf.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah.
Too right.
Oh, that's what I mean.
As a business owner,
Yeah, yeah,
right, you've
yeah.
got to make the time for you.
And that does
And-
my mental health so good. We walk round, we don't talk about relationships, we don't talk about...
Nothing.
We don't talk, just golf. We just talk about
Talk
golf.
about how shit we are at golf. Or how shit I am at golf. That's pretty much...
I didn't have a great round, buddy, don't you worry about that.
That's pretty much it. But
Yeah.
just touching on golf, we've got a very good podcast
Yes.
in the pipeline. I'm buzzing for it. Any golf fans, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And anybody inspiring, wanting to better yourself. The guy is called Tom Bean, and his whole journey is from barman to PGA professional. He's a young lad. He was working behind the bar in our local golf club, and it's from that to becoming a PGA professional.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that.
So he's agreed to come on. I think we're going to do a remote podcast, so we're going to go out on the course with him. We're going to play a couple of holes.
Have a couple of holes.
Have a chat, what drives him, how his golf's going. So it'll be pretty much a golf-orientated podcast.
Yeah, it will be.
But with a few life lessons in there and a few inspirational things, no doubt, because Tom is such a good, positive person to be around. But anyway, that's another podcast for another day.
Fantastic.
So business is going well, you're going well, your head's well.
Head's well.
Your hair's well.
Hair's well.
Better than mine.
Lockdown haircut. Yeah.
Your hair's...
Yeah.
I keep it under the hat.
Yeah.
My hair's a phenomenon.
So everything's going well.
And thanks, guys. This
thank you so much for having me on, mate.
Thank you very much.
It's we've really appreciated your time.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
But as always, we're doing a few plugs at the end of podcast. So Tony is Tales of Old London Town. Where can people follow you, mate, or find you?
They can find me on Tales of Old London Town on Facebook. We'll just wait from that link, find out when it's published, and fantastic.
I'll pop a link in the description and stuff anyway.
Hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy your ghosts, your mysteries, your plots, your executions.
It's got everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
everything
your controversy. Yeah, it has.
That's good.
Yeah.
Adam, where can people find you, mate?
Just search for me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. I'm pretty much on near enough everything. So you can have a look for Adam Farrell or Adam Farrell Limited, and I'll come up.
And I'm on Instagram as Steve Pollard 18 if you want to give me a follow and have a little look into my personal life, which is golf, gym and food, really.
That's about it for you, isn't it?
And the odd Viking thing. Now and again. T-shirt's looking fresh, mate. Speaking of Vikings, it's
Four line.
Pretty decent.
Not bad, is it? Do you want to tell us a little bit about Four Line?
It's a Old Norse inspired sort of brand. We're going into clothing line at the moment that's coming in, specialising in training sort of clothing and casual t-shirts, but we also write in the Elder Futhark runes, which is an ancient alphabet system, and we make wooden stuff out of them, really. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
It's the pyrography, isn't it, that you use? Like
wood burning. Obviously beard bead.
Yeah.
Make beard beads, key rings.
I have got one, but mine's just not quite at a length yet to really get it in. I'm struggling, but when it gets there, it'll get there.
It'll get there. Yeah, do wooden plaques and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not a Thor line program. This is about Tony. Again, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thank you, guys.
And opening up to us.
Fantastic.
So on that note, enjoy life.
Thank you. Enjoy.
See you
life.
soon.